Hi, Kevin Wright here with another video tip. This time we're going to be talking about how to shrink the deposit to way less than 25%. So if you're interested in that, keep watching. So, having to put a 25% deposit down whenever you buy an investment property is a real brake on people's finance, isn't it? Because, you know, how long does it take you to save up a 25% deposit? Ages. You know, and even if you've released some equity from a property you already own, or you've had a windfall of cash, I don't know, from a redundancy or something like that, you know, it's soon going to disappear if you have to keep putting 25% down every time you buy a property. Now, you know, maybe you've already had this brainstorm that you've got to get smarter. You've got to find different ways of doing deals if you're not going to run out of cash before you run out of ambition. You know, most people use up their cash and they're nowhere near fulfilling their property dreams. So being smarter, thinking smarter, elevating your thinking is the way to go. Now, the starting point here is to understand, you know, where mortgage lenders come from. And the thing with mortgage lenders is they're very predictable in certain ways. And one of the things we know about mortgage lenders is that when it comes to valuing a property that you're in the process of buying, they will always go for the purchase price and not any value. So, you know, you might be thinking, well, I'm buying this property, you know, £20,000 below the asking price because I've found a motivated seller. They want to sell quickly. I'm happy to buy. Happy days. But along comes the mortgage lender's valuer. They ignore the asking price. They ignore any possible value, and they just value it on the purchase price. And then, of course, you have to put down 25% deposit. So the real key lesson here is mortgage lenders at the point of purchase always lend on the lower of the purchase price or value. So is there a way around that? Well, actually, yeah, there is, and it's one that I've been teaching on my courses for a number of years, and that is use a different type of lender that will actually lend in certain circumstances on the value and not the purchase price. So in other words, use lenders that will do the opposite to what mortgage lenders do. And who might these lenders be, you may well ask? Well, let me tell you, they're bridging lenders. Bridging is a very, very flexible tool that intelligent property investors have used for years. So we've actually brokered literally hundreds of bridging loans in recent years. So what's the difference? Well, not all bridgers, but some bridgers, and of course we know the ones that do. You may know the ones that don't, but we know which bridgers are prepared to look at a property and value based on up to the asking price, regardless of the price you're paying for it. So let's give you a quick example. Now, it might help if you grab a pen or a pencil and a bit of paper and jot this down. So, you know, pause this video now if you haven't got one of those handy. Go and grab one, and then I'll run through a quick numbers, because if you're writing them down, actually I find it's easier for the numbers to stick. So go off and do that now if you have to. Great, so now you've got something to write with and something to write on. So let's say you've got a property that's worth 100,000. The asking price is 100,000. But because the seller's motivated, you've managed to get them to agree a purchase price of 80. Now, with a mortgage, the valuer is going to come along and say, asking price 100, yep, it's worth 100, not interested, we value at 80, and a 75% mortgage will give you 60, which means 60 from 80. Your deposit is the normal 25%, which is £20,000. Okay. Got that down? Great. Now let's look at the bridging alternative. Now with the right bridger, let's say their valuer goes along and he looks at the property and says actually this is worth 100,000. The asking price is 100. It's actually worth it. Now that bridger can also lend 75%, but 75% of the 100,000. Are you writing this down? Okay, so 75% of the 100,000, which of course is 75,000. Now remember, you're buying it at 80,000. So you're buying at 80,000, the bridger is lending you 75,000, so your deposit is now not 20,000, it's 5,000. Not 20, 5. So by using the principle of borrowing against the value and not the purchase price, you've dramatically reduced your deposit, the percentage deposit you need to do. In fact, 5,000 on 80,000, it's less than even 10% deposit. Now, this is a key strategy that I've been teaching for a number of years, because it allows you to buy with your pot of cash either multiple deals at the same time or bigger deals. So if you're putting a 10% deposit down rather than a 25% deposit down on the right property that you can get below the asking price and below the value, you can go bigger. Now, people that I train typically would understand that they can learn or look at properties 200 to 300% higher with the cash they've got available. Now, that's a massive game changer, because if you get yourself into a whole different level of property deal, you find that your competition falls away. So for example, there's a lot less competition to buy properties at 250,000 than there is at 100,000. And there's even less at 500,000 than there is at 250,000. So, by elevating yourself above the crowd, just using this very simple strategy, then you can get into bigger deals. And, the reality is, is as much effort in doing a deal with a 500,000 property as there is with a 50,000 property. You just make more money. You just make a bigger profit. So that's today's tip. And just utilizing this tip has enabled people to make, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds from deals that they wouldn't otherwise have done. So there we are. If you like this tip, then just subscribe to my YouTube channel. There'll be other videos on there. You can go and look at those. And, I release these tip videos regularly. So if you subscribe, you're not going to miss a single one. I'll see you next time.